Welcome back. In our top business story, UAE businesses can from today on sign up for the 6th round of the Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum Business Award, which this time will include more businesses among all sectors in the UAE. His Excellency Sultan bin Zayed Al Mansouri, UAE Minister of Economy, encouraged companies to continue striving for excellence at the first international conference organized by the Dubai Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Al Mansouri added he expects the UAE's GDP to grow by 3 to 3.5% this year, while inflation will remain between 1 and 1.5%. Additionally, other senior officials focused on excellence in industry standards at the event and how that has played an integral part for the UAE in facing economic challenges.
When you talk about excellence in any organizations, whether it's public sector, private sector, NGOs or profit-making organizations, all of them almost follow the same model in order to excel. We are taking this award to the next level. And next level is really trying to benchmark it with international models. Right now and nowadays, Dubai and United Arab Emirates consider international players. And the companies located over here will not be able to survive if they will look at their boundaries only within a city or within a country. They must look regional and international. And we're trying through this award and through this program really to put them into that position.
The award ceremony will take place in 2012. In the meantime, officials and industry leaders are encouraging companies in the UAE to improve their strength and to innovate.
In whatever business we are in, we must follow a principle to excel in that business and remain competitive. If that happens, everything falls in place.
The UAE and Britain have reiterated their commitment to increase their bilateral trade volume from currently £10 billion to £12 billion by 2015. Already, the UAE is the UK's largest market in the MENA region. In a joint statement during the second UK-UAE CEO Forum in Abu Dhabi, the UAE's Minister of Economy Sultan bin Zayed Al Mansouri and Britain's Minister of Trade Lord Stephen Green also said they want to extend their economic and financial relations. Both urged the other to open his market further to be able to expand the trade volume by including new goods and services and by increasing the establishment of trade fairs and investment forums in both countries. Apple products are now cheaper in the UAE, reason being that the iPhone and iPad maker opened an online store here in the Emirates yesterday with prices undercutting local retailers quite substantially. Experts are quoted as saying that this will revolutionize the local electronics industry, firstly because of cheap deals, and secondly because it will give the e-commerce business in the UAE a healthy boost, as it is still very small, for example, compared to countries in Europe or the US. Apple will deliver its products from a variety of warehouses around the world and has made its call center in Ireland available to UAE customers. By the way, Apple is currently the most valuable company in the world. It again overtook oil company ExxonMobil's market cap, and the gap is getting wider. With that, let's now look at the stock markets across the GCC. In our world business news, Standard & Poor's cut Italy's credit rating by one notch late yesterday on concerns the country's weakening economic growth and its, quote, fragile government coalition mean the nation won't be able to substantially reduce its €1.9 trillion debt burden, that is 120% of Italy's annual GDP. S&P lowered the rating to A from previous A+ with a negative outlook. It justified the downgrade with Italy's weak growth prospects. S&P lowered its outlook for Italy's average annual growth rate by half to 0.7% between this year and 2014, from a prior projection of 1.3%. The reduced pace of Italy's economic activity will make the government's revised fiscal targets difficult to achieve, it argued. Only last week, Prime Minister Silvio Berlusconi passed a €54 billion austerity package that convinced the European Central Bank to buy its bonds, and by that reducing Italy's refinancing costs. However, yields on Italian government bonds have continuously risen in the past days. Also, Italy's downgrade comes at a bad time when Eurozone co-member Greece is struggling to convince the Troika of its austerity progress. S&P's downgrade of Italy sent the euro lower for a third day against the dollar as concerns rose that European policymakers will fail to contain the Eurozone debt crisis. Additionally, Italy is the second largest economy in the Eurozone and would be too big to be bailed out if it needed to be. We earlier asked Tim Fox, chief economist at Emirates MBD, what implications S&P's downgrade has and what it means for the euro.
Italy, I think, is not just too big to fail from a financial perspective, but also from a historical perspective, as Italy itself is one of the founding fathers of the European integration project. So I don't think it's only a case of financial issues making Italy too big to fail. It's also from a historical perspective as well. I think this makes it all the more important that a line is drawn under Greece in terms of the pressures on its markets, because if Greece were to default in an unruly way, that would bring all the pressure onto the likes of Italy and other peripheral countries with large debt problems, and I think that would in turn bring about more pressure on the euro itself.
The world's largest motorcycle maker, Honda, aims to expand its share in Indonesia, where sales of motorcycles reached an all-time high as a cheap and efficient answer to traffic jams. Indonesia is the world's third biggest two-wheeler market. It grew by about 40% in the past 5 years on the back of steady economic expansion and rising incomes in a country with virtually no public transport system. Honda now said it aims to expand its market share in the country to 60% from currently 46% before the end of the decade. It already increased its annual output capacity to 4.3 million vehicles in July from 3.5 million at the end of last year, scrambling to keep pace with the surging demand. Before we go, here's a quick overview of the oil, precious metals and currency markets, and after that we have the day's sports news for you.